The Club World Cup is less than a week away, and in today's video I will be revealing my first draft going into match day 1. I'm looking to include all of the big hitters, and I might be activating a chip. So as always, if you're looking forward to today's video, make sure to drop a like on the video, and of course subscribe to the channel for Club World Cup fantasy content. We'll see how much of it I do make. Enough waffling, let's get into today's video. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually quite excited for the Club World Cup. I feel like the teams are going to have to take it serious because the winner gets just under £100 million prize money. So this is a big tournament, and I think it's a great opportunity for teams who don't have the TV rights that sometimes the Premier League teams do to display what they have available to them. So I think it's going to be a really good competition. I'm actually quite excited to play the fantasy game. Content-wise, I'm hoping to do videos every other day or every day. I will let you know, but the first video here is just going to be an introduction. I'm going to quickly rattle through how to play the game, and then we'll reveal my first draft. We will improve the graphics and all as we progress throughout the tournament, but for today's video, it's just about enjoying ourselves. So first up, in terms of the actual game style, exactly the same as FPL. £100 million to spend on 15 players, 2 goalkeepers, 5 defenders, 5 midfielders and 3 forwards. So that is all self-explanatory if you are one of those that play FPL already. Now this is the first big difference here, is going to be how the amount of players that you can select per team changes throughout the competition. In the group stages, and remember there's 3 match days, we have got 3 players per club, the exact same as FPL. After that, when we get to the round of 16, we have a maximum of 4 players per club because, of course, half the teams have been eliminated from the competition. 5 in the quarterfinal, 6 in the semis, and 8 in the final. So remember, as we get further down the line, it means that you can have more players from each club, which is quite exciting because sometimes when we see them great matchups, we do want to go all in on, for example, Real Madrid as an example. Now, coming through here, obviously the stuff like formations are basically exactly the same. Budget management, exactly the same. Do not worry about those. Player prices are locked, so you don't have to worry about tracking the market for Cole Palmer going up in price or Mbappe. You don't have to worry. The price that they are at, they will remain at throughout the entire competition. So do not be stressing about that. Now, another big difference here is going to be captain and vice captain. Similar to FPL, you select your captain, similar, and you select your vice captain. If your captain doesn't play, it defaults on your vice captain if you were to completely leave it. However, this format is very similar to that of what we played in the Euro Fantasy and previously in the World Cup Fantasy. If you select your captain and he blanks, you can actually change your captain to another player. So you can see it here, during a live match day, you can change your captain an unlimited number of times as long as the new selected captain is yet to play in the current match day. So it's really important when you build your team to look who plays at the start of the match day and who plays at the end. So for example, if Cole Palmer was to play on the Monday and Mbappe was to play on the Wednesday, I could captain Cole Palmer. If he blanks, I can then choose to move my captaincy to Mbappe because he hasn't played already. That's really important. Don't just captain somebody who plays at the end of the match day because then you won't be able to put it on a player that's already featured. So that's important. And the same is going to apply also for substitutions. Now, you could just leave your team similar to FPL and they will automatically substitute for you if a player does not play. But I'm pretty certain that most of these players are going to feature. I mean, they're going to give game time to players. So this is where the manual substitutions is really, really big. And similar to what I mentioned about the captaincy, you want to put your starting 11 for match day 1 of the players that kick off at the start of the match day. And then on your bench, you want to have the players that feature later on in the match day. The reason being is, and it's to cover it all off here, make sure you do check it out. If a player in my starting 11 blanks, doesn't do well, I can then substitute my bench for him and hope that he scores more points. The only thing you need to remember is, if you make that manual substitution and then that player doesn't do as good as the player on your bench that you just put on, you can't then swap them back. Once you've done it, that's locked that player in for the game week. So I like manual substitutions. It means that you can actually fully utilize your whole squad of 15, and it means selecting your 15 is actually quite important rather than just going for a locked in 11. Now the rest of the stuff here, pretty simple. Team changes during live game week, don't really need to know too much about that. I'm trying to make sure this is as clear and understandable for you guys as possible. In terms of the boosters, these are effectively FPL chips and these are different. So we've got 4 available boosters to us. We have the wildcard, which, similar to FPL, allows you to make unlimited transfers to your team. However, you can't use it in the first match of the group stage because we all have unlimited transfers. and in the round of 16. And that is because everybody gets unlimited transfers in the round of 16 because, as I mentioned, half of the teams have been eliminated. So a lot of teams out there are going to look pretty weak. Then we got the 12th man. This one is really interesting. It allows you to select one additional player to score points for your team in that single match day. So the player can't be substituted, captain, or transferred. You literally select that player as your 12th player, and then once that is done, the game week, he doesn't remain in your team. So for example, if you pick an 11 going into match day 1, but you also want to chuck Erling Haaland on top, you can do so as your 12th man, but then he would disappear in match day 2. I really like the 12th man chip. Maximum captain, slightly different. This will allow you to get double points for whichever player scores the most in your starting 11. So it takes all the stress out of captaincy. You just activate maximum captain. As long as one player of your team does well, it will then automatically default to that. And they've taken what FPL have done and they have gone for a mystery booster as well. No idea what that will be, but it will be revealed once matchday 3 locks and the round of 16 opens. So that'll be exciting to see what they do with that one there. Now, the other big thing here that we need to make a note of is going to be transfers. It isn't a case of necessarily just rolling transfers here. In this scenario, we have unlimited transfers in the lead up to match day 1, same as FPL. Before match day 2, you get 2 transfers. Match day 3, you get 2 transfers. Round of 16, unlimited, because of course half of the teams will get eliminated from the competition. Then we get 4 in the quarters, 5 in the semis, and 6 before the final. So again, really important to note how many transfers you will have available to you and try and navigate those game weeks as best you can. Outside of that, guys, the scoring system is very, very similar. I wouldn't be stressing too much about it. The only thing I would say is, coming down here to the midfielders, is that we do have every 3 tackles plus 1 point. So if you want to put a Caicedo in your team or somebody like that, you can. But honestly, guys, I still think the plus 1 points for every 3 tackles is a nice addition. It isn't going to swing me from having Cole Palmer to Caicedo. So I wouldn't be stressing too much about that. Outside of that, the forward scoring is the same. Bonus points, let's just be done with the scoring points there. I don't think we need to worry too much about that. Outside of that, I think we pretty much are sorted in terms of what the rules are. If I've missed anything, I will put them in the comment section, but that is the general sort of rules that you need to know and the big differences between Club World Cup Fantasy and FPL. So enough waffling, let's get into my first draft. So first off, kicking things off with my goalkeepers, it's worth noting I will do a kind of chip strategy video on the next one, but I just want to talk about my main draft here. So in terms of the goalkeepers, I don't think we need to spend tons. Yes, we do have the premium goalkeepers available to us, like Neuer as an example, like Courtois, but I want to spend all my money realistically on these attacking players because there are so many available to us. So we've gone for a cheap in Armani, and we've gone for Di Gregorio, can never pronounce that one, from Juventus. And the reason why I've gone for this balance here is I think they work well for the opening 2 match days. I want to try and keep my goalkeepers the same for match day 1 and match day 2. Spoiler alert, I might be using my wildcard in match day 3. So Armani is the River Plate goalkeeper. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Do I know much about him? Absolutely not. But I want a cheap goalkeeper and a goalkeeper that has the potential of keeping clean sheets. When we look at the fixtures coming up for River Plate, they have Urawa Red Diamonds. Again, I don't know much about them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good they are, but it is a good enough fixture. And then in match day 2, they've got CF Monterrey. So actually the opening 2 fixtures are fantastic. So River Plate's goalkeeper Armani is going to be in my team. That one is absolutely locked in. But in terms of the actual quote-unquote more premium goalkeepers, I've gone for the 5.3 million option, Juventus' Di Gregorio. So 4.9% selected. Let me know in the comment section if there's a chance of him getting rotated out of the team. But we have got the first opening game against Al Ain FC. And in the second match day, they've got Wydad AC. So again, really good opening fixtures. Match day 3 is not good, but I am looking to wildcard in match day 3. So I don't have to worry about that Man City game necessarily. I'm just focusing on the opening 2 games. And I think the fixtures for both goalkeepers are fantastic. We also need to remember, of course, is the dates that they play, because I spoke about how manual substitutions are really important. So if we look at here, you can see Armani kicks off on the 17th of June and Di Gregorio plays on the 19th of June. So it means I can start with Armani, and if he doesn't do well, I can manually substitute Di Gregorio in I don't want goalkeepers who play on the same day because you're not really maximising those as goalkeepers. So make sure you do make a note of it. I think there are other good goalkeepers. I think Manuel Neuer is going to be a really popular one, but these two for me are pretty much locked in. Next up, moving into the defenders here, similar to FPL, we have to select 5 of them, and there are some really good options available to us. You can see here, I haven't included from teams such as PSG, no Hakimi, no Nuno Mendes, other players obviously who are really high up on other teams like a Trent at Real Madrid, but I think these 5 here are a nice balance, but we will discuss how there are other alternatives out there. So kicking things off with Borussia Dortmund's Ryerson at 4.9 million. Again, I'm just looking for fixtures, I'm going to be honest with you. This is an attacking fullback or wing back at times in this Dortmund team. Ryerson at 8% owned in the game. Fluminense FC in the opening game, and then they've got Mamadou Sundowns in matchday 2, and even Olsen HD in matchday 3. So the actual group for Borussia Dortmund is actually fantastic, and I think having some sort of defensive coverage is worthwhile. The Fluminense game is naturally going to be the most difficult for them in matchday 1, but for me, Ryerson is a great pick in that Dortmund defence. Now, I've also gone for Ruben Diaz, probably the most boring Man City defender, but the way that he played the back end of the season, I think he is still Man City's best defender outside of Vardial. Slightly cheaper at 5.8 million, and the fixtures for Man City are pretty decent. Wydad AC in the opening match day, and then they got Al Ain in matchday 2, and then of course Juventus in matchday 3. I still think that's a good fixture, but if I do use my wildcard in matchday 3, I don't really have to be concerned about that fixture there. I think Ruben Diaz is great. I think having a Man City defender is quite ideal. And I think Ruben Diaz's game time will be good. My only concern is, of course, he played in the Nations League final. So could that hinder the potential minutes for him? They don't play until June the 18th, their opening game. So it's quite a break until then. So we'll keep an eye on the stuff from Pep. But if Ruben Diaz is available, I do like him as a pick in that team. Next up, the cheap enabler, and we have got Francisco Moura of Porto. Now again, am I an avid Porto fan? No, I'm not, I'm going to be honest. But it looks like he is a starter in their most recent games to finish off the season. The fixtures, though, are not amazing. Palmeiras in matchday 1, I don't think that's a great fixture. And then Inter Miami in matchday 2. Their fixture, really, their good one, is Al Ahly in matchday 3. But we might be using our wild card then. So this is just a cheap enabler for us. Plays on June 15th, so you can kind of use him. And if he does well, great. If he doesn't, we manually substitute him out of the team. So it's kind of a cheap enabler who could do well, but we don't really care if he doesn't or not. We kind of need these sort of players that can kick off the game week and we can take him out of our teams. Now we got one of the big guns, Denzel Dumfries. You can see very popular, 40.3% owned in the game. I'm expecting him to be a very, very popular man throughout the competition, as I expect Inter Milan to do okay. But of course, with them losing their manager, it's going to be interesting to see what the reaction is in that team. CF Monterrey in the opening game week is just fantastic. So that's a great opening fixture. You want a piece of that game. And then they've got Urari Red Diamonds, followed by River Plate in the final match day. So I think that's decent opening 2 fixtures for Denzel Dumfries. We can see what he does in the final third. He is just very well rounded as a pick. So I think Denzel Dumfries naturally is going to be very popular in a lot of teams. And finally, we got a Premier League great here in Lloyd Kelly. I didn't even realise he played for Juventus, I'm going to be honest with you. But I think his game time's been okay. And with Viega now going back to Chelsea, I don't think he is going straight back to Juventus anytime soon. So 2.5% owned in the game. I think there are better Juventus defenders, but if you want a cheap enabler, and we get confirmation that he is playing for Juventus, the 2 games, as we discussed, as I selected the goalkeeper, are great. Again, am I leaning on Lloyd Kelly to be my winner? No. Ideally, I land on Ryerson, Dumfries and Ruben Diaz as my back 3 to end the game week, but you need these cheap enablers in order to fund the attackers that we're going to have in this team. Moving into the matchday 1 midfielders, and again, this is where it gets way more exciting than the defenders, and it's quite nice to pick players that we kind of have no idea what they're like. If anybody's making content right now and they are telling you on a deep dive of what Di Arrascaeta is like and exactly how he plays and monitoring his game time, they are lying to you. So I'm just going to put it out there that I don't actually know how good this guy is. However, when you play Club World Cup Fantasy, I think it's really boring if you just select Premier League players and you just select all of the basic guys. You want to spice it up with some of these exciting players. Hence why we've gone for Flamengo's De Arrascaeta. Now, I do know he scored 12 goals in 26 games. This isn't a youngster. He's a bit more experienced. I think he's 30 years old. But again, we're looking at what fixtures they do have available to them. Now, the opening fixture against Esperance de Tunisia, I have no idea what they're like. But I think Flamengo are odds on to be the favourites in that game. So I don't mind that for the Arrascaeta. Matchday 2, not ideal against Chelsea, let's be honest with you. Even LAFC, I have no idea who the favourite is in that situation. But this guy's got a lot of hype. He's been quite highly selected at 9.5. And as I said, 12 goals in 26 games. I like what I'm reading. This guy isn't locked in, but I think he is a good enabler at that price point. Now, I've been monitoring this guy. I don't know if you've heard of him before. Cole Palmer. He's doing the scenes right now. No, this guy's in a lot of teams. Cole Palmer, 26% owned. The fixtures are good. LAFC, Flamengo, and they finish it off with Esperance de Tunisia. So you probably want a Chelsea midfielder for all of those 3 games, even if you wildcard in match day 3. I actually quite like Madueke. I think he's a good option, but I don't really know what Maresca is going to do with our Chelsea wingers. I think at times he might play the 3 of Lavia, Caicedo and Enzo, but I think Andre Santos is going to get some game time in midfield. But I think the wingers in Madueke are good. Palmer probably will play right at times. The thing is though, Palmer's on penalties. We saw he steps up in the big games. I still loved him in FPL even when he was having his barren spell. I think if you can afford Cole Palmer, you do so. I think it is worth it. And I think a Chelsea midfielder is good for those opening 2 games. Now, this is where we got a bit of a theme here. We've got 2 Bayern midfielders. I'm going to cover those off. First, we've got Jamal Musiala. I'm just a fan. Now, is Sane a pick? Yes, but there's also rumours of him leaving. So we're going to ignore Leroy Sane. So that gets rid of him. So Musiala, I think, is by default a fantastic pick. The fixtures, this is why people are going there. Auckland City in the first game could be a cricket score, I'm going to be honest with you. So you need some Bayern investments, triple up ideally. Then they got Boca Juniors in match day 2. That is a bit more difficult, and then Benfica in match day 3. But I think the first match day is so damn good that you do really want a piece of that. So that is why we got Jamal Musiala in this team at 9.2 million. And I've also gone for Gnabry at 8 million. Now I need to monitor this to see whether he is actually a slight rotation risk, because of course Michael Elise is also a great pick. I think that is probably a bit more guaranteed game time, but he is more expensive than Gnabry. And as I said, the fixtures are so good. So for me, Musiala is an absolute lock alongside Palmer, but I need to see whether Gnabry is actually locked in for that game time. And then we've got this boy, Masatuno. Now, this guy I never heard of prior to the last few weeks, but you would have heard of him because Real Madrid have basically signed him, and that is always a promising sign for a player that, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know much about. However, 4.3 million, playing for this River Plate team. He's just got his move to Real Madrid, and importantly, the fixtures are so damn good. Urari Red Diamonds, CF Monterrey, ignore the Inter Milan game because we will probably wildcard then. So the fixtures are great. Real Madrid are buying him, and his underlying his stats are actually quite exciting. So I think this is just a player that you have to have in your teams at 4.3 million. For River Plate, the fixtures are so damn good. I think you'll kick yourself if you don't have him. And in terms of actually the dates that they play, there's a nice balance here because we've got a few that play on the opening game alongside Palmer. We can bench a midfielder if we want to, and they quite nicely balance with our defenders. So I can bench Kelly, I can bench Dumfries and play all my midfielders and then manually substitute it there. I quite like the midfield. I don't think much will change apart from Gnabry. I need to monitor whether his game time is actually locked in or not. So finally moving into my forwards for match day 1, and as you can see, we don't have Harry Kane, but we're going to discuss how I'm going to include him in this team. So first up, we have got Erling Haaland. I was debating Haaland or Kane to start in my team, but when I look at those fixtures, Wydad FC, Al Ain FC, they're too good. Haaland, I just think is going to be a monster on this competition. I think City need to do well in this competition from a financial perspective. So Haaland for me is just a lock in this team alongside Samu Agawona. Now, the thing about this is his name that was being spoken about in the summer window was Omaridian. And this is who Chelsea effectively had a here we go from Fabrizio Romano. I don't know whether the game know who this guy is. 19 goals for Porto and he's 4.2 million. I mean, this guy's more essential than anybody else that I named because he's such an incredible enabler. The fixtures aren't amazing, but Palmeiras and Inter Miami are good enough. And I think this is a bit of a mistake from the Club World Cup fantasy game. I don't actually know whether they know what they've done here, but 4.2 million for the main man at Porto who's been officially signed is incredible. So you need him in your team at 4.2, and it means that you can have 11 million forwards alongside that. And the other one is going to be Mbappe. I mean, I just need Mbappe. Al Hilal is a tough game, but it's Mbappe in this Real Madrid team who need the money, it's worth noting. And then in match day 2, CF Pachuca, you have to have Mbappe in that. So for me, that front three is pretty much locked in. I am content with it. But as I discussed, we need to use potentially the 12th man. Now, I will show you that in a second when we do save the team, but that is how my team is looking right now for match day 1. So as I mentioned previously, it's really important to make sure that you're selecting your team based on when they're actually playing. You can change it with the date toggle there. Hence why we have got some key players on the bench here. Dumfries, Mbappe, Di Gregorio all play 18th and 19th of June, whereas everybody else in my starting 11 plays earlier. That's because if they blank, I can then manually substitute my bench in for those players. So that is the way we're going to be setting up. Unless I make any changes, I will do a final team selection. The final decision, as I discussed, is using my 12th man. Now you tick the little lightning bolt in the top left and click activate on your 12th man. And this, as I mentioned, gives you the opportunity. Bayern Munich have to be your priority. There's no other way about it. So for me, Harry Kane is a no-brainer. You get him for the Auckland City game. Yes, you don't get him for Boca Juniors, but I have double Bayern midfield. So the plan would be to select Harry Kane as my 12th man, and the team would look like this. And I'll be pretty excited about this. I think I've got all the main men covered. The fixtures are fantastic. And I don't really think I need too much changes. Really, it's going to be a case of Gnabry and if any other real gems emerge in the game. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Yes, guys, okay, so that's going to wrap up today's first video of Club World Cup fantasy content. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said, I will improve the setup of this. I just wanted to get a first video out covering off the basics and my current draft. We'll be doing some gem videos. We'll be doing some final team selection stuff closer to the deadline. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Are you playing it this season? Are you not fussed? Let me know in the comment section. And of course, if you want to stick around for it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Drop a like on the video and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.